there's some video of Ann Coulter that I haven't watched, so let's watch it.
Let's check back in with Ann Coulter, the best-selling author, political commentator, now writes on Substack. Ann, does George Santos make it to 2024 in the House of Representatives?
Yes, I think he'll stay. I think he ought to stay. I mean, okay, it's a little more than your average political lying, but there are a lot of liars in Congress, and I would think the New York Times and Daily Beast ought to give Republicans credit for having a gay Latino. Here we are, reaching out. They say we're not diverse enough. How about that?
Wait, let's talk about Kevin McCarthy.
No, of course. She go throw that in there. Hold on, she gonna throw in some snark.
No problem with that either.
Let's see that again.
Give Republicans credit. I mean, okay, it's a little more than your average political lying, but there are a lot of liars in Congress, and I would think the New York Times and Daily Beast ought to give Republicans credit for having a gay Latino. Here we are, reaching out. They say we're not diverse enough. How about that?
She was like,
wait, let's talk about.
We gonna freeze it on her face when she said. She was like,
here we are.
That'll do it. And she was like, that'll get them talking.
Republicans credit for having a gay.
Have y'all seen the Boondocks episode where she was backstage with everybody and they was like mad cool with each other and she was like a normal person? This is just her career. I mean, obviously she spreads hatred and bullshit, but like, you know, a lot of these people are just fake. You know what I'm saying? Like some people are true believers, and I don't necessarily know if she's one, but either way, I mean, the message is the same, but she's definitely just playing an act.
The New York Times and Daily Beast ought to give Republicans credit for having a gay Latino. Here we are, reaching out. They say we're not diverse enough. How about that?
She's basically
let's talk
like
about Kevin McCarthy, right? He's had Santos's back here, put him on 2 committees.
She
no
what
problem
she does
with that
for a
either.
living.
No, I mean, Biden should resign.
Yeah,
he said he was arrested trying to, meet with Mandela. He was beaten up in civil rights protests. He graduated in the top half of his class. He's half Puerto Rican. He's half.
You think that's comparable, though? I mean, because I've gone through some of Biden's fibs in the past. It's not comparable.
A lot of them, and it's been going on a long time. And he's president, and Santos is just a congressman.
But Santos's lies are like a different level. It's like nothing about. I mean, Biden went to Syracuse Law School, right? If it was Santos, it wouldn't have just been. It's like what he said, right? I would.
Such a hack. She's such a hack. Like let's be serious. Like, I mean, yeah, you can talk about politicians' lives, but anybody who's not a hack will be like, George Santos really isn't normal because he's fucking not. So she's such a hack that she's full of shit.
I went to Baruch and I was a star volleyball player, right? Okay, let's just say if he wasn't a star volleyball player, then okay. But he didn't even go to Baruch. It's like there's a different level here.
I love the idea of Baruch having a volleyball team.
Right, me too. And they actually did beat Harvard at the exact year that he said he was on the team. Yes.
Oh, so he assumed the whole thing.
No. He actually had done the research and figured out what year he would have been a senior to be on the volleyball team.
But he didn't do the research on the invasion or the invaders or whatever that movie was.
Right, exactly. Well, that was just on his Wikipedia page. So who knows who put on. What do you make of there's been a lot of talk on CNN and MSNBC in particular.
Oh, yeah.
About who should be responsible, right? They're pointing to Elise Stefanik, saying she pointed people to raise funds for Santos.
Right. I think that's completely crazy. I mean, one of the good things about being a Republican, most of the time, this one fell through the cracks, is that we don't have to investigate our own guys at all. The New York Times will be doing that for us. ABC News will be doing that for us. Certainly the Democrats will be, but the entire media is going to be investigating your candidates. It's not like we didn't know, about Doug Mastriano, for example. We didn't need to do our own Oppo research on our own candidates. It's funny that the New York Times missed this one. And actually, I have heard that the reason the New York Times turned up all this stuff after the election was that they were, in fact, going to do a puff piece on Republicans. They got a gay Latino.
Really?
And then they start looking into it, and wait a second.
Really?
That is what I have heard from a reliable source.
Okay, so that was really boring. She's just being a hack. Because again, it's like there's really no point in like trying to play whataboutism when it comes to George Santos, because the level of lying that he does is like, why defend it at the behest of the Republican Party when pretty much everybody in the Republican Party is shunning him? You know what I mean? So like, it's just, again, like I said, that was boring. But yeah, that's what Ann Coulter does.